Okay, dropped the camera, dropped my phone on the last video, so I'm starting over. Alright, so today what I'm going to do is I am going to plumb this system and this system. You can't really see it here. It's a 120 gallon system, 60 gallon system, which is just a little lagoon, a shallow reef, with the, these both have their own separate sumps. And you can't really see that, but let me show you here. You can kind of see it here. It's a trigger system, Ruby 36 by 16 by 16, I believe. And I'm going to be plumbing all of this stuff, including all my Apex and stuff, to this sump here, which is an 80 gallon. I had it just laying in the garage and tried to sell it, but nobody really wanted to spend. I was just charging $100 for it, maybe 150, but nobody wanted it, so I figured it'd look better on my system than what I currently have. So I'm going to plumb these two systems together and set up my calcium reactor so that I can dose both systems. The 8 gallon nano is still going to be standalone. It's doing fine as it is. I just put that skimmer on there to get the algae down. Right here is, that's just distilled water, or RODI water. It's almost empty, which is good. And I'm going to be using that as my top-off reservoir via gravity fed to the system over here. And below it, I'm going to have another vat just like that for mixing salt water on a pump that I can just run a hose to and just change water out. And maybe I might automate it. I'm not really sure if I want to do that yet. With I'll probably use a Stenner pump if I do it. But right now, you can kind of see the current shape of the room. If I had to guess, the room's probably 15 by 12, but it's really messy. And I'd like to get it kind of straightened up because this is also my pain cave, where I come in and I get on the trainer. I just have a little cheap TAC-X Smart Flow, but I get on Zwift, which is how I do, I don't know, during the week I train on it. And I actually got this new training tire because I'm tired of getting these tires, these more expensive tires, all screwed up. But I come in here, I'm trying to come in here every day to get at least 10 to 15 miles in if I can. But it's really kind of a bummer to come in here and just see all this piled up shit. So I'm going to try to plumb everything out and clean it up, and hopefully the next part of this video you'll see it's cleaner, and I'll show you how I'm doing. I'm going to use my return is going to be a Jabao DCT 15,000, I think is what it's called. It's about 4,000 gallons per hour, but it will be nowhere near that amount because I'm restricting it to, with the returns, it'll be 1/4 inch going into here. It'll be 1 inch going into a manifold and then 1/4 inch going into that tank. The manifold is going to support all the feeds that I need to my various reactors. And then over here it'll also be 3/4 inch direct coming in. So to the tank it'll be low, slow, and in control is what I like. And I'll have slow flow through the sump as to minimize evaporation, and also more contact time with the macro. I like to go the macro route. I'm not a big fan of the other routes out there. I'm not going to name any names, but I'm not a fan of them. I think that the tried and true methods are the best way to sustain a reef, and I have the growth in that tank there to prove it, especially for just being a year old. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Hopefully I can clear all this crap out, and hopefully the next video you'll see is just a cleaner mess. Thanks. Okay, not too much done. I just disconnected all the life support. Got a couple of pumps of Tunzi in there. You can kind of see it oscillating, I think. It's still oscillating, kind of slowly but surely. It's on a, I think it's called a C-sweep. Anyway, but I have that pump going. I have another pump going down there at the bottom. Kind of hard to see with the reflection, but that's really it. The whole system's down, lighting's turned off. Here is the DCT 15,000. You can see, I don't know if it'll have the model number here on the back. Yeah, there it is right there. DCT 15,000. So it's a 100 watt unit. So what I did first is I lubed up with this Teflon tape. I like using this mega tape. You can use the white stuff too, doesn't matter. I just can get fewer wraps out of this because it's thicker, but I do 2 wraps just to lubricate here. This is a 2-inch fitting, and then this adapter kind of at an angle so that water from the bottom goes up and in here. Instead of just pulling in randomly from the side, it'll come up from the bottom. And if I drip, you know, my calcium reactor into there, it gives it a chance to kind of stir up before going directly into the pump. And this is going to be my return line. And I'm going to try to use this rubber gasket it came with, even though I got the Teflon tape. I'm going to use this rubber gasket, and you can see on the inside there's a little bit of a lip there. It may not fit very well, but I'm going to screw this on like so, if it'll let me. Again, these are 2-inch fittings, and yeah, there's too much of a, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take that rubber gasket out, because you can see there, I'll just pull it out. But yeah, I'm going to use this here, and then I'm going to use this reducer, 2-inch reducer to 1-inch, to come up and then tee it off and then put a little manifold off to the side. But that's what I have so far, and we'll see how it works out. Okay, so, oh man, this has been a pain. Disconnected everything, lowered the tank water a little so it wouldn't go into the overflows there. That way it don't drip into the old returns, which are flex lines. Everything's tubing of some nature, flex line. And I'm going to be hard plumbing. A little bit more stability in hard plumbing, but you get more bends out of it, so you don't get closer to your true flow rates. But all that water there is from the overflow in the sump, and there's very little left in the sump, the old sump. But you can kind of see, let me come up closer here. There's nothing in the final chamber where the return is, but in here we're a little over, probably 3/4 of the way to get to the overflows. This again, this is a, I think 36/16 by 16, and this is 48 by 24 by 16. So about 80 gallons, I think, and with it, you know, with the water level as low as those little vent holes there, I would say it's going to be around 60 to 65 gallons of water when it's all said and done. Maybe more with chambers and everything being filled up, but I'm just going to roll with 60 gallons. So 60 gallons, 120 gallons, that'll be 180 gallons, plus the 50 gallons here, 180, 90, to about 230 gallons when it's all said and done. This old macro I had in here was the invasive kind, and it took forever to just get that much, so I'm not going to reuse it. I'm just going to, that's just a reactor from my ozone. I just filled it with carbon on top and stuck a sponge down in there and put carbon, and used it to kind of filter the ozone, I guess, if that's the proper terminology. But you know, over here I'll probably in that center chamber just do Chato or Kato. I've had great success many times with Kato only. So anyway, there's the pump in place down there. I turn the intake upwards because it's not sitting flush, so I have to cut it a little. And I just put this pipe in place for now. I'm going to end up cutting it, and I'll tee it over to there. I might have to actually buy a different type of tee to make this work the way I want it to. But anyway, that's it for now. More to come. Okay, it's probably pretty windy out, but I just brought this outside. You can see to the left here, that was my return section, or my drain section, and I had my skimmer in there as well. And I put my probes in there too. That's the top of the reactor for my ozone. It's just a little nano skimmer, cheap one. A couple of pumps in there. It was a very inefficient setup. I had so many pumps powering different reactors, and just kind of energy consuming, and really didn't like all the tubing and everything I had in the tank. This is the return section. it's the sump's in pretty good shape, all things considered, and I'm gonna clean it out when I get a chance. But right now, it's gonna sit here, and you know, whatever. It's kind of windy out. Sorry about the wind, but that's it for now. I gotta go in the house now. Here's a side view. See right there, trigger systems. It served me well, but I just need a larger sump. Okay, so here's where I'm at now. I got the plumbing out, cleaned up the sump and everything. You can see little specks of clotted, I don't know if you can see that, but that brown stuff is the detritus that sets in over time in your overflow. And kind of sucks, but it's just the thing that happens. I'm really surprised at how much I have in just a year time. So I pulled out it was a slip. The overheads that are the bulkheads I had, they were slip on top and barbed on the bottom for flexos. Now I'm going with threaded on both ends. And what I did is, I don't know if you can see or not, is I put some Teflon tape on the threads there. This is a 1-inch fitting to fit into the 1-inch bulkhead, and my PVC will fit in there for the Durso pipe. And what this does is it ensures that I have a good seal so that I have minimal water leakage from the bulkhead itself down into the sump. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it basically ensures that my water level stays static in the overflow, which are the big columns here, these things. So it'll keep my water level up high. That way, when there's a power outage or whatever, it doesn't have to fill up that thing to, not that I've had that problem with the slip fittings, but this will just give me a little more peace of mind. I will not glue these to the Durso, but it's snug enough that it'll hold the Durso pipe in place well enough, so I don't have to worry about it. That's where I'm at now, and we'll see how far we can get. Okay, so I have built this, and I used one of these because I'm going to put a manifold here going to the other tank. Doesn't really matter, it's going to be going into the same sump. But this is a 2-inch on this DCT 15000, and I have this going down to where it sucks up from the bottom to help keep the detritus in motion, at least in the return, because that's why we dose in calcium and alkalinity as well. So I have a 2-inch here, and then this is a reducer to 1-inch, and then I had to use a 1-inch to a 3/4-inch reducer, and then I put a union here for maintenance and a union here for maintenance, and this actually will be just before it gets underneath the tank of the main display. And under here I have most of it dry plumbed right now, but I put it right dead center where the return will go. That way it'll squirt up into the valves equally, hopefully. If not, I could always add a couple more butterfly valves, but this should work just fine. That's how I had it with the flex line. But just about have the return done, and personally I believe the return's hardest because that's where you're going to have your most leaks, so you got to take your time. And my bulkheads were all 1-inch, so I had to use reducers up there to get it to 3/4-inch. So that's where I'm at so far. Got water in there, kind of a leak test, I guess, but didn't really need to. Fishies are all good, and when it gets all lit up and we get started, I'll show the finale. But pretty happy with this. You can use Schedule 80. They had Schedule 80, which is the dark gray colored pipe. They had it there at the Lowe's that I got all this at, but I opted against it because they didn't have any 1-inch pipe. If I'd have known that most of my plumbing would be 3/4-inch on the return, I would have definitely used Schedule 80, but it doesn't really matter. It just costs a little more. It's definitely an overkill, but it does look better when it's all said and done. So that's that, and more to follow. Okay, sorry about that. So a tip for you when you are dry fitting, when you dry fit all your pieces, do little lines between where you want it to connect up at. I use pencil because I can wipe it off easy. You just have to be careful not to get the cleaner on it. This cleaner here will wipe it right off. I use the cleaner because it helps soften things up. With 3/4 inch, it's almost impossible unless you got this soften, this cleaner, which does soften the PVC, make it easier to go on. But you can see here that I have pencil marks everywhere that I need them, and that'll help me keep the angles and everything that I have to match up with my pump that's over there. So let's see if it works. Okay, so right now it's 10:23 and I can do no more cutting outside, so I'm going to try to finish the drains up as quickly as I can. But here's the manifold system I created. This will help power my different reactors, calcium reactor, all kinds of stuff. I accidentally dropped that dosing pump in the water. I hope it still works because I was going to give it to a friend. What I did is I put a little bike hook here and strapped this pipe down to give it a nice sturdy surface. These are really smooth little valves that I picked up online. So I'm going to keep that like, something like that. And all these valves here, I mean, these are kind of too close together, but I'll probably just keep something on there running all the time. But they're real smooth operating valves that I'll, probably keep a couple on spare. This one I'll definitely, since it's for some reason, I mean, if that becomes a problem, I'll just cut that off. But I wanted to try to make it as compact as I possibly could. But this one I'll probably just put on one of my reactors or my calcium reactor and just let it trickle on in. So there's that. It's really cool, real nice and smooth. Boom. And there's how I did the pump. Down at the bottom you can see the return, the intake is pointed downwards, and everything just comes up 3/4, and then I made this all 1-inch pipe all the way across for strength to hold that manifold up. And if we go under here, you can see everything's glued. The entire tank is, the return is done. I have drained all the sump into there and some of the water from the tank so that they don't spill over into the overflows. And this portion is still dry. And then over here, you can see how I did my return line. I had to get kind of crafty with it there. And my drains, I'll keep the same plumbing on there and just run them all the way over here to drop into there. So that's really it. So that's all I'm going to do today. Hopefully my fish aren't too pissed off, or my corals, but I'm sure I have enough supplementation in there to keep them all at bay until tomorrow. So that's that for now. Okay, so it's the next day, and here's my plumbing underneath my little lagoon tank. This one here, which is going to be plumbed into this sump, and that 120 gallon there. I haven't worked on the drains there yet, but so anyway, here's the drain. I put a well, I mean, these were already here. I put them there before, but I actually glued them. I usually don't glue returns if they're close, but since this is going a pretty good stretch, that's a 5-foot PVC pipe. This is going a pretty good stretch, so I'm going to glue these. So I'll put my marks in place, and if you stand back and look, you can see that you can't really tell if these pipes are level, and you kind of want it to gently go down into the sump. So what I did was I measured the angle. Pardon my camera work here, I'm pretty bad. Alright, just doing this one-handed. So what I did was I measured here, and you can see it's about 8.5 inches, just about where it's coming down. And then this one here is about 10 inches. And then I'll go over here and do the same. And you can see the highest pipe is 10 inches, the lower pipe is 11. So that should give me a pretty decent grade, but all I'll do is, since I have that bicycle hook there, I'll just get another tie and lower it even more. just to make sure it's nice and graded. I'm not really going to use this space here for anything, so you know. Anyway, that's where I'm at so far, and hopefully I'll be able to leak test it here soon. Okay, so I got all my plumbing done. Kind of see here what I've done. I put in a gravity fed auto top off in the back here. Might have the level too high, but I'm not really sure, but it's pretty high. I guess the operating level of this sump is going to be a lot higher than I thought. That's more like 60 gallons of the 80. I'm going to probably say 55, 60. And there's all my plumbing all done up. That valve's turned back too much. Again, here's the plumbing below the 60 gallon, but I'm going to call it 50 because of the thickness of the glass. It's probably more like 55, but with other stuff in there, I'm just going to say 50. It's all good there. I moved my Nano to the left because it's being neglected, and see those tufts of algae in there. I think you can see that. And it's just really a softy tank. I don't really care too much. I got a Domino in there and a Dottie back. Or I'm sorry, yeah, Dottie back. It's ran by an AI Prime. That's a Reef Octopus 100 HOB, whatever. Like I said, I just put that on there from time to time, and right now I'm just trying to clean that up. So this water here, I have a float valve inside of here that'll come up. This is coming from directly from my my RODI unit under the sink, and this feeds the top off. The top off is full now. I see nothing but dripping going on there. But while I start this up, I'm going to go ahead and turn the top off completely off, like so. And I'm going to tie the pump into, there's a pump cord. I'm going to put it on this return that I have labeled on here, if I can fit it on there. There we go. So I can just flip it off and on. Wait a minute, for some reason the power bar is still on. I'm not sure why that's on, but okay, so that's all off right now. I'm going to turn the return pump on and see how we are for leaks. 150 watts. Should start seeing some activity here. Water level is definitely dropping. I've got water coming out of the return here. And I have water coming out of my returns here. Kind of a goofy configuration I put there, but I have dual returns on my lock line there, so I just kind of put it whatever. Little Tunsy moonlight thing there. Alright, so that's overflowing now and should be filling up. Looks to be already pretty full. Alright, so we're going to go under here and look. I don't see any leaks. Actually crank this one up a little. I'm turning up the nozzle. The water's dropping over the waterfall here, and I'm still getting water to my pump. I can't see that. See, there's my pump. That's why I have it turned down. And you can see that's just water spillway going on there. I'll have to fill the sump up some more to get all that noise out of here. But so I turned the returns up. That's pretty good flow there. I'm not gonna get too crazy. But yeah, this is a whole lot of water. I wasn't expecting to have that much. But I'm not seeing any leaks. And you can see here's my little valves. Turn one on for you. Use those. Just gotta plumb them in and stuff. This doesn't seem to be an issue. Nothing dripping. I use Teflon tape in between here and those fittings are Schedule 80 because they were the only ones I could find with the threaded. I think it turned out looking pretty cool though. Unions. I'm getting overflow from both. I have less from here obviously because it's a smaller tank and have less water going up to it, and I have both of my drains feeding that one. That's why it's coming out pretty bubbly. I'm going to go check over here. This is kind of the one I was worried about most. This is an unfinished wood surface. Those water stains that you see there, kind of pigmented, are from earlier. I need to fix my blanket, or my sheet there. And looking up in here, I'm not seeing any leaks whatsoever. The way you can tell is by looking at the elbows, and I see no drips. So, wow, that's pretty lucky. Everything's spilling over nicely. Got some good surface agitation on the 60. I'll leave that as it is. Decent surface agitation. Ooh, I got a little floaty Red Sea cup there. Clean that out a little. Kind of sticky. Yeah, I mean it looks to be functioning well. I just need to put some more water in there. And according, this right here is about 5 gallons. I just have to test it. 5 gallons of RDI. I think that'd be plenty to lift that level up. And then I still gotta tie in all my electronics and my calcium reactor, and maybe I'll do another video on that. But yeah, so far so good. Pretty happy with the way everything turned out. 0 leaks. Took about a day and a half to do everything, but I was working kind of slow. So now I'm just going to clean up, and the finale I'll have cleaned up everything and maybe some of this stuff plumbed in. Alright, thanks. Okay, so this next video is me just getting everything online. This is an old skimmer that I bought when it just came out. It's called a Coral Box. I think it's a D700, and as you can see, it skims pretty well. Really surprised they didn't take off more. I don't know. I've built skimmers and used every skimmer known to man, and I really like the simplicity of a DC driven skimmer, and I also like DC anywhere, I like DC over AC with anything that has to do with salt water. But I do understand that AC has huge benefits, especially when it comes to flow rates and items such as that. But with this skimmer, you see it's bubbling up real nicely. My temperature of the tank is really low right now. It's like 74, 75 degrees, maybe lower, probably around 73, but I don't really trust the controller that's monitoring that right now. I don't have the Apex online, which is a better controller. But right now I'm just letting this skim take care of this foam head. This foam head here just needs to come out. And since the water depth on here was so deep, it was probably like 11 inches. No, that's wrong. Yeah, probably 12 inches from the bottom to the top. I threw this frag rack in here that I haven't used. I threw it in there as a pedestal to kind of hold the skimmer up. It gave me about 4 to 5 inches. So this is in about 7 inches of water right now. I have a tape measure. But so far it looks pretty good. The bubbles aren't quite where I want them yet, but it has to break in. It's been dry for a while. I didn't clean it real good. As you can see, there's crud on the bottom, but it should be fine. So I'm going to let this skim. It's only rated for about 210 gallons, and the system now is 230, 240, something like that. So I'm hoping it does a decent enough job. If not, I'll just have to add my Bubble Magus Curve 7, which is the only other skim. Well, no, I have a Reef Octopus and a couple other skimmers in the garage I forgot about. But I'm just going to let this thing foam over and see, you know, where it levels off at. Right now, the air is doing pretty darn good at the level it's sitting in, but I like to see finer bubbles right there in the housing of the actual skimmer, the base of the skimmer. And in the neck, if they get a little bigger, that's okay. But right now, you can see it's just, the water's extremely dirty. So, you know, mixing this, you know, this little tank here, which was kind of dirty, compared to this tank here, which is pretty clean, it's probably going to shock the system a little bit, but I'm pretty confident my corals will be okay, which is all I really care about. So, I'm going to let this run for a little bit, and I think what I'll do next is kind of clean up underneath the stands and maybe start connecting the calcium reactor. Okay, still sitting in a messy room, but I got everything plumbed. So here's my CO2 regulator. I got it from CO2 Art. It's a company based out of the UK. I got the I can't remember what this valve's called, drip valve, whatever. And I got the check valve, that silver thing there, and it's a precision adjuster here. It's got a LED light indicating that it is on. Right now it's connected to my Milwaukee. It's already dropped 0.2 since I've had it hooked up. You might be able to hear that rattling noise. This is a very old Mag 2 that I need to replace. It's got a real slow leak there coming down, but that's probably from my tape job, whatever. And I modified the top to accept that pH probe. Just basically bought that that fitting. That's I cut a hole. I mean, I drilled a hole into the top. Got that fitting from, I think, Premium Aquatics, and got a new probe, stuck it in there, and I used E6000 for sealing it. I've never had that stuff break on me when working with any acrylic. So this is a combination of different substrates, a lot of different types of dead coral in there in the chamber, but this should last me a long time. This is an older MRC CR2, My Reef Creations, and it's rated for 500 gallons. It's older, but man, it's just tried and true. I love it. So anyway, over here I've hooked up my UV sterilizer, which I have not plugged in yet, but it's this third valve here, and you can see it running back to that valve there, or that fitting. This here connects to my calcium reactor. This here connects to the, I'm sorry, that's carbon reactor. That's my calcium reactor. The line runs back to the calcium reactor. This line here is filthy. This is just a cheap little GFO. I always run GFO, and I like to get a little tumble. That's about how I like it. That's the good thing about having a manifold. There's the carbon. Is when you have a manifold, you can adjust it whatever flow you want. And of course, if you adjust this goes to the 60 gallon. If you adjust that to go faster, or if you adjust this one here to go faster, then you have to readjust all your stuff. My skimmer is pulling out some nice green tea, and I'm just going to let it continue doing its thing. It's doing real nice. I do need to still hook up my Apex controller. It's just the one I'm using. It's the flavor of the week. And once all that's done, I'll pretty much be done. I just gotta figure out a way to, that was the old way that I mounted the Apex stuff. I'd like to be able to get to it easier, so I'll probably mount it on the borders of the tanks, like up here on the ridges there. This is just a fish room, so I really don't care what it looks like. Clean is nice, but it's not the important thing. The important thing is being able to get to my trainer, and I'm just about there. You can see back here in the back, my water is almost filled up. I've got a really nice RODI unit. If you look through my videos, you'll see which one I did an extensive review on it. Love it. And really from there, I'm just waiting on the tank water to warm up. It's taken Man, it's been about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to go up a couple of degrees. So, yeah, and I've got a 300 watt Eheim and a 500 watt Finex in there. It might be an 800. I think it's a 500 watt titanium type, and then a glass type, the Eheim. So anyway, I'm just going to let it kind of baste for a while. Hopefully this will get my levels up. It's got a ways to go. It's at 7.6 now for my pH. I have it set to 6.5. That's when that stuff starts breaking down. And it should add some love to the tank that it desperately needs. And then I'll get my lighting set up later. But right now, it is 4:15 and I am hungry. So I'm going to go grab a bite to eat. Chipotle sounds good. Okay. This is my final video. There's a stomatella. Oh, he's going to go hide up in the rim. Dang it. Alright, well. I can't really get him. There he goes. Little stomatella. I think the only reason why I have these in my tank is because I have no crabs. If there were crabs in there, they would have probably killed them. Hermits or... I got some emeralds in there somewhere. Anyway, here's the finale on my corals. Some of them got a little darker and dingier, but ultimately looks good. I recessed the returns. I don't know if I can see this or not, but the returns are down lower, so I still need to clean up. So that's kind of nice. Here's the sump feeding everything. The skimmer is pissed off for some reason. Here's the 60 gallon. Completely done. And here's my wiring mess that I gotta deal with. First I'm gonna clean up and get all this shit out of the room, but that's it.